Hi, what if I tell you that ordinary can become extraordinary? Join me as we dip into week 3 of the Bible study Extraordinary. Hey everybody, this is Barbara Velez. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to week 3 of the mini series Extraordinary, in which we are going deep into living an extraordinary life in the ordinaries of circumstances. This week we're going to talk about our everyday life doesn't mean that you are living an ordinary life. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that living an everyday life is not ordinary. You can make your ordinary life very extraordinary if you reframe your mindset, and if you reframe the way you see yourself, and if you live a life of faith, full of the knowledge of God in your life, and knowing that He is with you in everything you do. Last week we talked about the fact that things that we do in our everyday life help us to build the muscle to fight our Goliaths. This week we are going to talk about living an extraordinary life even if it doesn't feel extraordinary. Okay, so most of you might be thinking, Barb, this is really great. I think that you're onto something, but what if I don't feel like I'm living an extraordinary life? What if I feel like my life is just like in and out? It feels so repetitive. It feels like I am just repeating the same day over and over again. That is kind of a cycle. I don't feel sometimes that I can find myself, or I'm going to really tough situation right here. Barb, what are you talking about? Well, I'm telling you that you can always turn those things around if you know where to look. And if we go deep into the Bible and we go to the book of Hebrews, we will find the answer that we need. Our faith is the key of everything. In the book of Hebrew, and I'm just gonna find it right here, it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things that have not been seen yet. And it starts talking about a bunch of people. Go and read the book of Hebrew, because it talks about a bunch of people that live normal, everyday life, that at the end of it, you see how extraordinary their lives turn out. But I bet that none of them thought that in the repetition and in the normal everyday life and in the things that they needed to accomplish each day to put food in the table, or to do certain things to live a life protected, or to put a roof under their heads, and or to take care of their families, they were living a really extraordinary life. But they are right there in the Heroes of Faith section of the Bible. So what so awesome is that? And perhaps when we go to heaven, we'll have our own Heroes of Faith section, or maybe in the book of Barb, I'll have my own section of my heroic adventures. So I don't know about you, but I like to think about that, because there was a season in life that I wasn't thinking about that, and it was not fun to live like that. So it's very important that we see ourselves through through the eyes of God. And in week 1, we talk about how God created us, how marvelous and complex He created us. In that complexity, give us different features and different things that we could use in our circumstances or in our lives. Different purposes, different things that we're very skilled on, and things that we're kind of not skilled on it, but we'll just leave those on the side, right? We all have our strengths, and we all have the things that we need help with. The whole point of it is that we have to have the faith to be strong in the things that we have, those abilities and those God-given talents. And we also have to have faith to know what our limitations are and when we need to seek for help from other people and from God Himself to make it through a circumstance in life. And it's very important that we remember all the time that what God has said about us. Faith is about the things that we don't see yet. So faith is rooted in things that we have believed God for. In the same way Abraham believed God for a land, we have had our own revelations of God saying things to us, confirming it through other people, and we have believed God for those things. But through the journey and through the everyday life, hey, we don't feel like we're making progress, but we are. Every new day, every new circumstance, every new thing that we have to tackle, we tackle it in God, and by faith, that is one more step closer to the thing that God had created us for. We just need to pursue our goal, to continue working on those things that we are working right now. And I want to give you 2 keys today about how we can apply this in our everyday life, especially when we don't feel like we're making progress or we feel like it's really ordinary. First key, know God's thoughts about you. Know what God has said about you. For that, you might need to go into the Bible. It's very important that we read the Bible every day. And if you are like me, there are days that you don't feel like reading the Bible, or that you go to sleep without reading it, because that's part of being human and missing one day. But that doesn't mean that you are allowed to do that for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then when you're in an emergency, you open the Bible, so God, please talk to me. So it's very important that you read the Bible, you meditate in the Bible, you write down the things that God has told you to, specifically to you, because nowadays we have so much material through YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, to many great tools. I'm making material myself right now for you, but we have so much material that we have forgotten to get the materials ourselves for us. So what God has said personally to you, what God has said in the Bible that have touched your most inner being, your most complex thoughts about Him, your purpose, that have sown a seed of faith, and you know that you are called to do that, then that's the thing that you need to focus on and renew every day, and focus your mind every day in those things. And let me tell you, sometimes it's not going to be easy. Sometimes you're going to be challenged on your mindset, and you're going to feel like you're not making progress. You're going to feel like you're really not cut to do that. But if you have faith, you need to press on and continue to move on. You need to allow the Word of God to penetrate your most inner being and change you and change your perspective. It's important that you understand that the Bible is the manual of instructions of the Christian. So one of the most important verses for me in my life is Psalms 32:8, and I constantly talk to my son about this verse, because this is the verse that has always reframed my mindset, and in the times of me needing to refocus, this is the verse that God is like, Barb, I will tell you what to do. And it's I will show you, and I will, let me see if I can do this in English, because I know it by heart in Spanish, but it's I will show you and I will tell you the path to go. So I just want you to understand that for us to live life that it's extraordinary, we have to maintain our focus on God's thoughts and our faith. And number 2, we must run a race. And running a race means that we need to stay on our own lane. There are many temptations nowadays to run the race of the other person next to us, or to take the lane of the person that is next to us, or that is running a little bit in front of us. And every time that I get into those thoughts, I need to be reminded that it's my race, that it's my own pace, and it's my own learning and my own desire and my own responsibility to move forward and to continue growing in my daily life, so I can run the race more effectively. The race, the Christian race, is not about who wins or who got there first. It's about you doing what you were supposed to do here on the earth. So it's very important that no matter your circumstances, you focus on embracing your race, embracing where you're at, and moving forward no matter your circumstances. You need to understand that if you're going through a difficult time, you need to embrace a victory mentality, not a victim mentality, and know that there's always more than meets the eye. Find that, because God says that our thoughts are not His thoughts. So there's always something that we might be thinking that might be hidden from us, that we need to see from God's perspective. So it's very important that when you are living your life, you know how to shift and change your perspective, knowing that you are unique. And I want you to be encouraged this week. And this week task for you will be writing down the things that you're doing right now. What are those things that are unique in your life? Are you running the race comparing yourself to others, or are you running the race focused on what God has said? And talking about what God has said, I want you to make a list of things that God has said that you have done, and things that God has said that you're working towards, and that you meditate on things that God will show you the path and will give you understanding and the things that you must do. And finally, I want you to read Hebrews chapter 11, and I also want you to read Psalms 32:8, and you write down and you ask the Lord about things that He wants to talk to you specifically based on this passage. I think that's all for today, and we'll see you next time with week 4 and the concluding part of Extraordinary. God bless you, and see you next time.